Well, it's great to have John King here from New York, and he's working with Kevin O'Day, who's just in rehearsal right now on a new piece which will be on our Ballet BC Turning Point show. And John, you've worked with Kevin O'Day before?
I've worked with Kevin. Our first project, I think, was 1996. And I think by last count, this is our 22nd ballet that we've worked on together.
Wow, that's a lot of ballets. And you know, what's really great for us is that John is writing for the whole Turning Point Ensemble. And on Sunday, in a couple of days, we're actually going to do the workshop, so we're going to play the music for the first time. Would you like to talk a little bit about how this piece has been developing?
Sure. Yeah, it'll be the first time through the score on Sunday, and in speaking to Kevin about it, I had wanted to have the beginning of the piece be very open, time-wise, without any real sense of time happening. Just long stretches of different materials, kind of coalescing slowly and building up slowly, and over the course of the first 8 minutes, you get a sense that there's something impending, which is what I wanted to get across. There are little snippets of rhythm and pulse emerge, and finally they take over for a little while, and then they disappear again and come back, and then the beginning of the last section, which is the longest section of the piece, the rhythm really kicks in, and there's a pulse that happens sort of throughout, and there's some room for improvisation with the Turning Point musicians, which I'm really excited about hearing, and it kind of drives and drives and drives and goes till the very end, just kind of cumulatively developing rhythmic material and all the rhythms and pulses and the harmonies, and everything's coming together, and it kind of ends with this big bang.
Well, one thing I really appreciate is the kind of flexibility that you're bringing into the music, and I guess you've done a lot of that through your previous work with Merce Cunningham, and I know from working with dance myself that every choreographer is different. Some choreographers really like to get very cued up with the music, but it's very liberating, I guess, to have this sort of a more flexible way of working, and seeing as you've done a lot of that, it would be interesting to hear you talk about it.
Well, I'm glad you feel that. I mean, I wanted it to be liberating. I wanted it to be as flexible, as much of the material I wanted to be as flexible as possible for as long as possible. I keep kind of encouraging Kevin to think about things in an open way, and just as expanses of time and expanses of a skeletal structure within which the music can exist and the dance exists separately, and they come together in beautiful ways. I mean, we just saw a rehearsal of one piece, and there was something in the soundtrack that I put together for Kevin to work with where like a cymbal just closed off, the sound of a cymbal just closed off, and it happened to be where a dancer stopped his movement. And I just noticed that. Maybe Owen didn't, maybe even Kevin didn't notice it, but I put those two things together. It will never happen again. But that one moment, for me, was kind of beautiful because it'll never happen again. And we'll discover over the course of the process of working with Turning Point and then putting Turning Point together with the live dancers later in February, that those kinds of things are allowed to happen. And I'm trying to keep that as theirs for as long as possible, keeping those simultaneities as fresh as possible for hopefully through the premiere.
Right. Now, so the whole first section of music is 8 minutes long, and so that can be done with there's several subsections which can be shorter or longer with these cues that you were describing, the sort of suspense building. So when we're going to try that out shortly, we're going to also do different versions for Kevin so that he can, and the dancers can get used to the variation, right?
So they can get used to not being used to anything.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to try and shake them up in a nice way.
Because then it's flexible,
Yeah.
and then the dancers don't quite know what's coming exactly. They have an overall sense of what the structure is going to be. They know that that first section is 8 minutes long, but within which it's like an accordion that can be expanded or contracted, and things will be compressed in time, and then things will be expanded in time, and we'll just see what happens, and it'll all be beautiful.
Yeah, and I think this score you've written is going to be very exciting for the whole ensemble, because it's like a big organism, right? We're sometimes coming together and so lots of rhythms, sometimes going into rhythm and meter as it goes along, and I think it's going to sound terrific with our ensemble, so thank you for writing for us.
I'm really excited about it. I've heard such great things about Turning Point, and I can't wait to meet everybody and start working with them and letting them understand this organism, which is the piece. They'll make it grow. They're going to make it bloom. They're going to make it grow. They're going to make it develop into an organism that I might not even know what the end result is going to be, but it'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it.